Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of a weekly Waypoint. Today we are playing Halo. First of all, Halo 3, and then second of all, Halo 2 Anniversary, and it's SWAT in both game modes. I am isolating for a week, but don't worry, I just tested negative. Obviously that doesn't mean I'm safe and out of the woods, but well, you know, that's why you gotta stay isolating afterwards. But in the meantime, I can distract myself with Halo. Last week I downloaded Doom Eternal and I started playing some of that, and I think that game's really good. Maybe not quite as tightly designed as Doom 2016 in terms of systems and stuff like that. Obviously the combat is extremely tightly designed, but I got about 3 missions in and then I realised I was going to be playing the entire game, and I don't have time to be playing the entire game because I still need to catch up on the Halo campaigns before Halo Infinite arrives. So I probably uninstalled it. No, I didn't. I moved it to my hard drive, but I can't play it there because it's an Xbox Series X game. So it's in storage, and I downloaded the Master Chief Collection instead. So what you're actually watching here is Elgato footage from Halo on my Xbox, instead of what you normally see, which is PC gameplay. There's not really any noticeable differences. At first I noticed in a video I was making that the contrast was slightly duller on the console version, but then I realised it's because I hadn't adjusted my brightness settings correctly. So maybe not contrast, maybe brightness. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Either way, I played through the entirety of Halo 3's campaign this week, and that is going to be in a video that's going to be coming out in a week or two. And yeah, it was really good. I bloody loved it. I don't think it's one of the best games ever made or anything like that, like it was hyped to be during its time, but then again I can see why it was so beloved during its time as well. I think nowadays it is overshadowed by more modern FPS campaigns, like Doom Eternal for instance. Like, I think Doom Eternal is a better game than Halo 3, or maybe Doom 2016. I haven't played all of Eternal yet, so I can't really judge that properly, but I think those Doom games will be overshadowed by future games. I think games continue to innovate, and yeah, it's good stuff. I do love the gameplay of Halo campaigns though, of just like, you know, it's not battle chess or anything like that, but it is nice to kind of like be, you know, throwing away weapons when there's only a few bullets left in them to pick up like more alien weapons to try and fight with instead, and you know, throwing sticky grenades at people and watching as they run into massive groups of enemies and set off a massive chain reaction of explosions by fusion coils and stuff like that. And the story isn't in your face, it's there, but it's a kind of story that I feel like I'm going to have to play for a few times before I really kind of have it down in my head as to like, oh, this happened because of this and then this happened because of that, you know. Maybe that's less to do with a game and more to do with science fiction in general. Like, I had to watch the Star Wars movies a few times through before I really got a hold on all of the different cause and consequences of the different plot points. Maybe that's just a me thing, I don't know. But yeah, I finished Halo 3 and I've started on ODST, and I am surprised at how that game is actually quite different to Halo 3. Like, it's got the Halo 3 title on it, but it feels like Reach is more similar to Halo 3 than ODST is. And you know, it's nothing substantial or anything like that, but just the, I think more in terms of general atmosphere and vibe, but also gameplay. Like, the guns look a little bit different, they feel a little bit different to shoot, and also you just tend to be a bit squishier than Master Chief because you're playing as a not a UNSC dude, a ODST dude, and you don't have like all of the Spartan armor stuff that Master Chief does. And I think it's really cool that they went with that as a direction to be like, yeah, you're just going to be slightly easier to kill, so be careful. I'm about 3 chapters into ODST, so I am still very early on, but I am enjoying it. I briefly considered skipping it because I know it takes place at the same place as Halo 3, and I doubt it has any really important major plot points, so I considered just skipping that and jumping onto Halo 4 so that I can get all of this done in time. But in reality, you know, I'm gonna get this all done in time either way. And I don't know for sure that Halo 3 ODST doesn't have any major plot points hiding in there. But if you're watching these videos in order at some time in the future, like back to back, first of all, why would you do that to yourself? But thank you. Secondly, you might be thinking, oh my god, Christian, you really are jumping from game to game. Last week it was Super Smash Bros. And last week it was Picross, the week before that it was Super Smash Bros. And yeah, I'm still kind of jumping around like that, but I'm not just like pinpointing a single game each week. I am still playing those other games. I played Picross while I was waiting for my COVID test to figure itself out, so that was cool. I just reminded myself I need to post my progress update to my KritigriSnaps account, which used to be Nintigri, which was the account that I posted all of my Nintendo Switch shares to, so like the 30-second clips you can take in the system. But actually nowadays I have the Elgato, obviously. You've probably heard me rant on about that enough. But But so I realised that that account's kind of moot now. So I've repurposed it. So if you want to find video game photography from yours truly, go to @KritigriSnaps. Because that's where that stuff is. I realised, I mean, this kind of coincided with me just naturally getting more into taking screenshots again. Before I started making videos like this, I would take loads of screenshots of my games. This was around a time when I was playing a bunch of Steam games on PC, and they had a very quick screenshot button, and at the end of each game session I would choose which screenshots to share onto my feed, and that was just something I naturally did all of the time, and then I stopped doing that. So I've changed my Xbox share button to be a quick screenshot button instead of a quick video clip button, and that's how it's going to be. That's what that account's going to be used for, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Like, there have definitely been times in games now where, because I've kind of been looking out for it subconsciously, I've been struck by like, oh, this would make a really good little screenshot, this. And you know, it's not like a video clip where I've got my personality in it, or it's telling a little story of something that happened in my game or whatever, but it's more of an appreciation of the art of games. So that's why it's its own Twitter account. Yeah, I really like it. Should we talk about a non-video game thing? Well, it is video game adjacent, but I've been watching Castlevania on Netflix, the animated series based on the video game, but it's perfectly good to watch it in its own right, because I've never played a Castlevania game until yesterday, when I bought the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. I watched season 1 of the show years ago when it first came out, and then I didn't touch it again when subsequent seasons came out, because that's a bad habit I've developed recently. I've got so many shows that I need to catch up on, but I decided to catch up on this one first, and boy am I glad I did. And I'm not going to talk about it in detail. I'll make a thoughts on video of all 4 seasons when I'm done with it, to talk about stuff in spoilerific, beautiful 1080p HD detail. I don't know. But all I'm going to say is that regardless of whether you like or care about the game or not, if you want a really good gothic vampire series that's animated well, has plenty of gore, has plenty of really fucking cool action sequences, and kind of a subversive plot in places, then look no further. Go and watch Castlevania. I think the first season is only like 3 episodes, but then there's more episodes in later seasons as it goes on. I think season 2 is 8, and then season 3 and 4 is 10. They're like 20-minute episodes, so it's not like a massive time sink to get through an episode like a lot of stuff is nowadays. And it's just so well done. It's not dialogue heavy or anything like that. The plot's quite simple, but it's fairly philosophical in places, and it's not afraid to kind of revel in its darkness, but not in an edgy way, but in more kind of a playful way. It is so good, and I've almost finished season 4. I'm about halfway through it, so I guess I haven't almost finished it. I'm halfway through it, but still, I've almost finished the show, and I kind of figured out what direction it was going in towards about halfway through season 3. And my friend non-spoilery confirmed it. Like, he didn't tell me yes or no, but he just told me, well, you're gonna like it if that's where you want it to head, kind of thing. And yeah, it's been a while, or it feels like it's been a while since I've really gotten into a show. I mean, I did watch Invincible when it came out, but that feels different because it was kind of the hot topic of the moment when it came out. This was more like something that came out months ago that I'm catching up on. Like, I haven't done that in a while. And I've kind of decided to spend more time watching shows and getting caught up on shows and trying out new shows, because I don't do it enough. I spend almost all of my free time that I'm not spending video making or, you know, doing chores or some boring shit, in video games. And it's like, I feel like I'm missing out on so much good storytelling. Especially since while games can be a really good storytelling medium, that's not their first and foremost priority most of the time. So yeah, it's been really good to be getting into this. Also, I don't know if anyone who watches my thoughts on the Wheel of Time series videos will be watching these videos at all. Probably not, but I am nearly done with the 3rd book. There will be a new video coming soon. I powered through the 2nd book, and then I didn't fall off reading it, but I really slowed down the pace of reading the 3rd book. So just be aware of that. It is actually going to happen. It's coming. It's on the way. But between games and podcasts and shows I'm catching up on, and YouTube series I'm watching of Let's Plays of other games, it is hard to find a time. I was making myself put podcasts aside and listen to my ebooks when listening to my audiobooks when I was walking to work and back. every day, but sometimes tastes change, and I just felt like listening to music at some point because I realised I hadn't, as weird as it sounds, I hadn't listened to music for a while. And then I got into that when I was walking to work because I guess I just needed some extra motivation and stuff, and then I fell behind on reading, so you know, it's a whole thing. And I feel like I'm too hard on myself because it doesn't matter how I'm spending my free time. All that matters is that I'm enjoying it, and I realised I was giving myself a hard time about the fact that I'm not reading the book fast enough because I'm not putting out videos of thoughts on about it fast enough. But that's absurd. I mean, granted, it's the thing that does best on this channel, but so's my thoughts on the Saga of Darren Chan manga stuff, and I read volume 4 of that months ago at this point, and I still haven't recorded a thoughts on about it because I just never got round to it. In fact, volume 5 and 6 should be arriving soon, but I'm just trying to be like, just give myself a little bit of slack. Just be like, hey, it's okay. This is a hobby. You do what you want to do. Speaking of creative hobbies and doing what you want to do, I didn't stream last night, but Reese did. Reese, who you probably know from his channel, he has a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Kriota, Kriota, I think, let me check. It is indeed the URL, and we streamed some Halo multiplayer last night. We streamed about 3 hours of Halo multiplayer, Halo 4 specifically, and it was a lot of fun. So go check that out if you want to. He also has a YouTube channel where he sometimes posts the VODs. Anyway, that pretty much does it for me. I need to go and edit a couple of videos together and then probably write something to make myself feel validated as a writer in life before that has taken too long and I feel like I'm pretending by putting it in my Twitter bio or some stupid bullshit like that. I did toy with the idea of writing a short story for every day that I spend in isolation. And then I have these ideas, and I just need to learn to be like, that's a dumb idea, don't do that. I'll write a story if I feel like writing a story, but I'm not going to force myself to write a story. I had a whole blog where I was going to force myself to write one story every 2 weeks, because that can't be too hard, right? And I failed after the first story, so maybe I need to give myself less opportunities to fail at things that I think I'm good at, because, you know, that's how you dent your self-esteem pretty massively, isn't it? Anyway. Sorry, got a little bit weird and existential there at the end. Didn't mean to. Was just going to make a cute little joke about doing stuff during my week of isolation, but there you go. That's how my week's going. I will report back next week with updates because I will not have stepped outside between this video and next video. Goodbye!